Alright, everyone, welcome back to another Watch and Talk here, Automotive Anatomy. Um, I hope everybody's doing well whenever you're hearing this. It goes without saying that I super appreciate the fact that people are taking the time to just listen and watch the video and then comment. And then you guys are actually commenting very um, intimate, very uh, personal stories, and I appreciate the fact that I think we are being very respectful of others. And so just want to take 2 seconds to say thank you, because it's very hard, especially in the internet world nowadays, to create a space where people can feel comfortable to share their opinions, experiences, without having other people come in, be extremely rude about it. I think that there's always room for disagreement. There's always room for different opinions, but I think that's where you grow, and I think that's what we need. We need to think outside the box, and we need to be open to different ideas. And so, before I continue, I kind of want to share this quote again. I don't know if he said it. I wasn't there, but thanks to Google, Henry Ford, obviously the Ford manufacturer. Quote: If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have had said faster horses. Well, yes, obviously, everyday person. Um, I think that's what separates a couple of the, Mark Zuckerberg, the Henry Fords of the world. I'll put Jeff Bezos out there. Um, the willingness to think, innovate outside the box. The idea that um, you kind of have to create something that other people can't see yet, and and it takes time, right? It takes effort. I think a lot of us have tried or imagined to build something, and then when you actually try to do it, you're like, man, this is more difficult than the YouTube video, made it seem. Um, and I think we've all been there, but I think that that's part of the process. I think that failing should always be something that is welcome. And I know that it's easy for me to say, um, as I'm not currently, facing, failure. Uh, or at least I thought I wasn't. I won't go into detail. I don't. It's not a major thing. It is a big change in my life. Um, I'll just say that it comes from a place of feeling comfortable and I don't know what the other word would be. Content. I think content is the right word. I think when you feel comfortable and content, you know that there's things that you need to change, but yeah, you're like, you kind of oversee it, and then you just, continue, and then, um, things happen. And so, I'll feel a little bit better about sharing some of this stuff, in future watch and talks. Right now, it's kind of I'm still trying to maneuver through it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it really got me thinking about the then and now. And what I mean by that is, I feel that I am I've always been that type of person who's thought about the future, right? And I have never been content or comfortable to the extent that I didn't see myself, you know, not achieving something else. And let me explain it, because I even confused myself on that one. So obviously, K through 12, you're just going to school, right? There's nothing else. You're just going to school. Maybe some of us here in the states, start working as sophomore, junior, and senior year. More on the legal side. I'm sure you can work since you were 7, 8, or whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is, you go to school and then you start working. Well, for me, ever since I graduated high school, it's always been like, what's the next step? And so obviously, I graduated high school. I don't think I've ever gone into detail about college, and I didn't really see myself going to community college or any college for that matter. Um, I just thought, it's way too expensive. I can't afford it, and why would I want to spend money on something that I don't even know if I'm gonna, be able to get a good return. Um, and so there was a lot of other stuff going on that I just didn't really see myself going to college. Long story short, my high school counselor, he calls me up one day, and he gives me a scholarship, a McDonald's Latino scholarship. He says, "Look, I thought of you. I think you will be the right candidate." I said, "Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much." So like a little, I didn't even consider college to that moment, and I'm already a senior. And I've talked to this counselor quite a bit. I mean, he's been great. He's an awesome guy, and so It's not. I don't have that typical story where like, oh, my counselor didn't even care about me, or my counselor was not available. It's fair to say that I was lucky that this counselor was my counselor because he just happens to be the most um, friendly and helpful out of all the counselors in pretty much the story in that freaking high school, man. And a lot of people know him. And even if it wasn't his alphabet, he still go out of his way to help. He later became my mentor. But anyways, um, so so I remember seeing that application, and there was one little line that I couldn't qualify because of that little line, and it was the very first one, which was you have to be a citizen. Now, on this Washington talk, I'm not gonna go into detail about the whole citizen thing or residency and all that good stuff, um, but I'm not a citizen, so I held on for it for a minute, for a day, and then on the second day, I said, dude, this money can go towards a citizen who's actually gonna go to school. Like, this doesn't apply to me. So I went to the office and I told him, hey, I really appreciate you for taking the time to share this with me and think of me. By the way, I do apologize about the water spots on the camera. I will try to clean it next time. I do apologize about that. And so I went back to the office and I said, hey, thank you so much for thinking of me, but I don't qualify because of this. And he's like, what does that mean? And so I explained to him, not all students are born here. Some of us are this. He goes, oh, wow, I'm so sorry. I said, don't be, whatever. A couple months later, he tracks me down in the hallway. He goes, I finally can find you. And I'm like, why? He's like, I couldn't remember your full name. And I was like, well, what's going on? Well, there's this other scholarship that I think you would be great for. It's like, don't worry, you don't have to do anything. It's one of those scholarships that really nobody applied to, and I asked, and it just happened to be there, and I'm gonna give it to you. And I said, are you sure? Do I need to pay it back? He goes, no, you'll get it. It's like, it's only $250, but it helps, right? And I remember thinking back then, I was a senior, and I was like, $250. That's a lot of money. Um, Shoot, it's a lot of money now. And it's funny because I'm getting emotional just thinking about that. The fact that I didn't know, and I'm glad I didn't know. I didn't know the overall picture, because if I would have known the overall picture, there's no way I would have said yes. So I said $250. I'm like, damn, that's good, That could. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't know that books were like $60, $70. Um. Anyways, he ended up giving me that scholarship. I didn't even apply. I it was just one of those that was already there. So then he tells me that what the next step, you have to go to the community college. They don't come to us because we don't have a big population of students that go to that specific school. So just go and I don't know, ask for help. So I remember I took a day off from school. Again, it's crazy how I did this as a senior in high school. I took the bus. It took me an hour and a half to get to the college, which is only 15 minutes driving, or less than that. And I got there and I went to admissions, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to sign up for college. So they sent me to uh, admissions, and then I said, hey, I heard about this program, and then they sent me to that program, and then I talked to a counselor there, and they're like, you don't qualify for this and this reason, and I said, well, how can I go to school? She said, well, you can come to school, but you're gonna have to pay a lot of money. And I said, okay, well, what's a lot of money? And so they told me it's like, I think it was like 1,500 per year. And at the time, I didn't have a job, and I was like, oh man, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I don't think this college thing is gonna work out. So the counselor looks at me and she says, why do you want to go to college? And I said, I don't know. Um, this is I explained my circumstance. I said, this is full honesty, full transparency. This is my honest current situation. I'm very well aware that even if I get a degree, I can't get certain jobs, and so. But I've been told that this is the next step, right? And she just looked at me. She said, "I'll be back. Hold on." In a very sketchy way, and I know some of you guys may or may not agree with it. All agree. Um, came back and she said, "Hey, if anybody calls, this is what you're gonna say." I didn't know what that meant. I said yes. So what does this mean? It's like, come back this day, and then we're gonna help you kind of get a schedule. I was like, I haven't graduated high school. She goes, don't worry about it. That's a whole plan. You have to come to school, summer school. Can you do that? Yeah, no problem. And that was it. That was the next step, right? I came back. It's like, dude, I signed up in college, you know? Um, so I ended up going to the summer class, and then after that, I started my community college route. And I met a lot of wonderful people and had a lot of good experiences. And at the same time, about a month later after I graduated high school, I went to this fast food, and I had applied to all these fast foods except one. And the reason why I hadn't applied to this one was because it was brand new. It had just opened. Well, it had been getting built for the last half a year. It had just opened the month of June, and this is about July. So I was thinking, dude, they're already super stacked. They don't need. And keep in mind, guys, it was '09, so it's not like now where everybody's looking for work or there's so many jobs. No, there was no jobs back then even for fast food. So, anyways, I end up going to this fast food place, and I'm like, hey, may I talk to the manager? And it was this blonde lady. She goes, I'm the manager. So I explained to her, like, I'm going to community college. I graduated from Villa Park. So she starts telling me, like, oh yeah, my daughter goes there, blah blah blah. I'm like, my counselor so and so. Oh yeah, so is my daughter's, blah blah blah. So anyways, we hit it off. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm going to community college. I want to become, I don't know what I want to become, but I want to get I think a bachelor's degree. I told her that, and she goes, oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, no worries. I'll turn this in, and we'll give you a call. We need help. Blah blah blah. Okay. So that was the beginning of July, and July 18th is my birthday. I'm kicking back at home, and the house rings, and it says Arby's, and I'm like, no way. I pick up, I'm like, hello. She goes, hey, this is so and so. We spoke a couple of days back. I was like, yeah, I remember. She goes, I'm actually the owner. I would love for you to come in and kind of start getting trained. What do you think about that? And I said, sure. So that started that, right? I was like, cool, I got a job now. So I would go to community college and wake up like around 6, be at the bus stop by 6:25. My class started at 8:30, and that was just the time that it took me 2 hours, and kind of got there 30 minutes early all the time because of the bus thing. And then I would come home. It would take me about an hour and some change, kind of relax, and then go to work. Most of the time, it was from 4 or 5 till about 10:30, and that was my life for the next 2 years. What am I kidding, dude? That was my life for the next like 5 years. But it was 2 years because of community college, and again, I went to school. I did everything that I needed to do. I didn't drop a single class, because I always had that mentality of like, what's next, right? Anyway, so I ended up transferring to a 4-year university to finish the last 2 years of my bachelor's degree, and it's during that time that I get to that school. I'm struggling. That's why it took me, instead of just finishing up 2 more years, it actually took me 4 more years because I was part time. I didn't get any financial aid, and so I was paying out of pocket. And my fast food job, even though I worked as many hours as I could, I think I was making like 700, $600 every 2 weeks. Um, but I had other bills. I pay a little bit of rent. Sometimes I was late on rent. I think it was like $250, and I would have to tell my mom, hey, can't pay you, you know, a week later or something. She'd be like, yeah, sure. Because my school payment plan was about $700 a month. Um, so I was struggling. And honestly, I kid you guys not, it was like $50 for myself every 2 weeks. Um, the girlfriend at the time, I don't know, I would always get her flowers every other week, and then we would. One weekend it was like we would go out to like a fast food place, and then the next weekend was like flowers, and that was the rest of my $50. And that was my life for that one year that I dated that girl, and then I met my wife a couple months later, and then she became the person that had to deal with me being super broke. And so, anyways, the stories that I'm telling you, the reason why is because I always had a continuing why. I always had, okay, this is the next step. I kept myself busy. Um, I told myself, I met my wife, and I said, like, I'm finishing my bachelor's degree, but that's it. Like, I can't afford this, and I don't see the point of it, to be honest with you. Um, I can't work during the day. I'd rather work during the day and then work at night, make more money. Um, and I like to believe that I'm sure she pushed me along the way, like, hey, just finish and then we'll see. So remember that high school counselor that I mentioned to you guys? In 6 years, I only visited him once. That was like a year after I graduated, and so 5 years after I hadn't visited him. Well, I needed an intern at a school site because that's kind of the degree that I was going for, was human services. And so I hit him up out of nowhere. I emailed him. I said, "Hey, would it be okay if I intern with you?" And he replied within 5 minutes, like, "It's okay with me. Let me just check my admin." Uh, Later on, when I was actually helping him out, he was like, "I actually had to look you up. I don't know who you were, and then I recognized you. I remember you." And he shared a couple stories that I'm like, "Yep, that was me." She goes, "Yeah, that was you." It's like, "And you have two brothers and blah blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, you remember." And he actually got me he ended up getting me a custodian job, like I mentioned before. And so then he told me, I told him that, "Hey, I can't go to get my master's. It's just too much. I'm checking on prices and I need to work. Um, my rent's kind of going up." There was some time that I actually moved out, because I was young and I knew it all, and so issues with my mom, and it was, it's getting hard. I told him, and the fast food's just not doing it. So he told me, well, now that you're going to get this custodian job, there's no reason. Like, he goes, "Look, Gus, there's nothing wrong with being a custodian, but there is something wrong with not pursuing your dreams." And that always took by me. I was like, all right, um, it's difficult. He goes, "Don't." Then he shared a couple stories with me, and he's like, "Look, I get it." Like, and then I realized that what he had been through was nothing compared to what I was going through. And then I had no reason, right? I was like, "Well, yeah, I have no reason to complain." So I ended up going getting a master's degree. I ended up getting a morning job in the morning. I left that fast food job. I should rephrase that. I think the lady, the owner, the same owner that I had to work for 5 years, I think she didn't see it coming, but she understood. She's like, "Oh, you got hired with the district." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "All right, no problem. Just leave your keys on the safe." And I was like, "What?" Like, that was it. Like, and I was like, "Okay." Obviously that's not the proper way. Like, I still wanted to work there. Um, and and that was it. Like, I don't know what happened. She took it to heart. Um, so I left the keys that night, and then I got my, I I think I went and picked up my last check a week later, and that's what she wrote. And so I ended up working as a custodian 3 p.m. to 11. And again, I was going to school, and once I finished my bachelor's degree, then I couldn't find I couldn't I looked to get into a master's program. It took me forever to find one that would suit the needs that I wanted. It wasn't a luxurious thing. It wasn't like I want to go to pristine school. Hell no. Like, dude, I've been paying for school for the last 6 years. Like, the last thing I want to do is pay more school. Um, at the same time, I ended up getting a job in another school district as a teacher assistant. So my new schedule was from 6 in the morning. I would get to work around 6:15, have practice, whatever sport was going on, and then by 7:40 we kind of start getting ready for school, and then I would leave around 12. I would get home, and then you know eat a snack, fall asleep, wake up around 2, get my lunch ready, and then I was out the door by 2:20. And then I started my other job at 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. um, and then I would come home and work on my masters. So that was my routine for the next two and some change, like 18 months, 19 months. Um, and man, I was tired. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was not performing as the way I should in my morning job specifically. I was just like kind of looking for places to hide so I could just. I was tired. Um, but I ended up finishing school, and then I got hired and I went to pursue my dreams. But I think like that's also, it was a great moment, but I think it was also a hard moment. And what I mean by that is that I still, as a first, my first year, you're excited, you're trying to change the things, you're trying to create a change, right? um but there's a little bit in you that kind of dies, because it's like, well, I reached the goal that I've been working for the past 8 years. And I think the drive, kind of diminishes. It kind of goes away. Like, now what? You know? And I've been at that for now, 5 years now. Like I mentioned, I thought things were good, and um, you get rocked a little bit with a little bit of news, and you're like, oh shoot, um, and it's good, and I've been telling myself it's a good thing. Change should be welcome. It's not something you should be afraid of. I made a video about 2 years ago now when I quit that first other job. And what's crazy was that a month before that I did like a, I don't know, it was like a podcast type of video. It wasn't a wash and talk. Um, I went to a local parking lot and I just talked, in front of the camera, and I said change is good, and when you need to walk away, you need to walk away. Little did I know I was really just saying that to really pump myself up, and then I realized, like, hey, if you're gonna talk the talk, then you gotta walk the walk. And a month after that, I quit the job. But you know, I do these videos for fun. I enjoy them. I want the channel to continue growing because it brings value to people, and the views and the comments um, have reflected that. It's not an ego thing. I that's something that I definitely have full control, in the sense of, like, I don't get upset with negativity as much as other people do, because I also don't get so excited about when people applaud me, or when people say, man, you're killing it. Like, I appreciate it, but it doesn't affect my ego. It doesn't affect my self-esteem. It doesn't affect my level of happiness. Um, and that's important for me to continue to remind myself that the reason why I'm doing these videos is because they're fun. Is it work? Heck yeah. You guys have seen that some of the last videos they've had a double takes or whatever. It's because usually I'm trying to I'm not trying to sacrifice too much time with my family. So usually when my wife goes to sleep, I get on the computer to edit, and sometimes I'm finishing at 1:32 in the morning, and the details, right? And so I do that just because I'm excited to see something else. I'm excited. I legitimately love the Washington talks. I listen to them myself. I go back and listen to them, and just kind of listen to what I was dealing with at the time, because most of the Washington talks that I do talk about, they come from something that happened that week, or something that I'm going through, or something along the lines of that, an experience. And I think that a lot of us can relate. A lot of us come across these videos at different times, and then we just happen to be going through something similar, and you're like, damn, I could relate to this. Um, and that's the reason why I do it. And you guys, I think you guys, especially the people that tune into the watch and talks, into the live sessions, you guys know that. Like, my guy has been at it for 4 years. He keeps growing, and the formula is still the same. Whether you like it or not, I mean, I'm me. Like, that's just me. I'm okay. I am willing to show my faults on camera. I'm willing to admit my mistakes. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to say I was wrong. I'm willing to put my opinions out there, whether people agree with them or disagree. But I'm also willing to hear in a respectful manner, a different point of view. And that's just me. That's how I decided to take on this channel. Um, and I don't know. I'm super appreciative of people just tuning in. But again, if tomorrow the views drop and they stop, then I guess that's okay. Like, change, change is necessary for you to grow, and that's what I've been telling myself. That's exactly what I'm working on right now. Um, with the little bit of a hiccup that I'm kind of now going through. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I think that it reminds me of, hey, get the hunger, get that drive, get that motivation to do something. Um, you know, kind of look inside and remember, like, when you were so hungry and so motivated to finish something. Now I think my next motivational thing that I'm trying to pursue is obviously the YouTube channel. Plus, I don't know. I don't know what else. I've been thinking outside the box. I'm trying to think, what else can I do? I definitely have been slacked on the whole clothing for the channel. I need to get back onto that, but little by little, you guys will
We
see
beat the sun.
as I continue to grow. But I definitely appreciate you guys' time, and thank you for tuning in. And we beat the sun, so it's always a good day when you can beat the sun and the car gets clean. So, sir, goodbye.